What's going on, everybody? San Francisco, New York, Thursday night football. It doesn't get better than that. With me tonight is my boy Jake Hansen, and we're going to break it all down for you next. Let's get it.
Just keep it simple.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live. I'm your host, Lonnie Z, and with me tonight is Jake Hansen. What's going on, Jake?
I'm doing good, Lonnie. Just getting ready for week 3.
Now, I know you are, of all people, excited about tomorrow's game. You know, just like last week, I was excited, but I felt like my team was going to lose. But I'm sure you don't feel that way. We're going to be talking about the Giants and the Niners. This is the Niners home opener, so they're going to be pumped. I know I've been to a couple of their home openers before, and they go crazy out there in the Bay when the Niners come home for the first time. I think the Giants are in for a long night. So Saquon Barkley is out with an ankle sprain. There's no timetable for his return. So that's really going to put them in kind of a pinch, I think. He had a real good game against the Cardinals on Sunday until he got hurt. Also, their offensive left tackle, Andrew Thomas, he's listed as out with a hamstring injury. He won't be there. Nick Bosa on the other side, and that's not going to bode well for Daniel Jones for sure. And then another lineman, their left guard, Ben Breederson, he's out. And he's got a concussion. So right now he's in protocol and he will not be in the lineup for tomorrow. Those are 3 key injuries. You got 2 offensive linemen, 2 starting linemen, and then you have Saquon Barkley, which is huge for the Giants. They're already big underdogs. On the Niners side, you have Brandon Ayuk. He's the only one that's really on their injury report. And something's going on with his shoulder. He's listed, though, as questionable for tomorrow night's game. So, Jake, what do you think about this game? But I know you have a little more insight about Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, so Brandon Ayuk did not practice on Monday. He was a limited participant on Tuesday. And as of Wednesday, they haven't really said too much. Just as of right now, he is questionable.
Gotcha. So what do you expect out of the 49ers?
I'm really excited about this game for the 49ers. I think the 49ers need to come out and play their game like they did week 1. They need to be focused and take advantage of a team that is not pretty much all there yet, you know, especially losing their best player. Saquon Barkley's out. You know, their offensive line is really in trouble. Cardinals, they showed that last week with the Giants offensive line. They were on them. The second half, Giants came out and looked a lot better. But I think the Niners can really take advantage of injuries this game, and I see no issue with the Niners. I don't want to say blowout, but, you know, play their game, home field. It's going to be rocking out there, man. It's going to be crazy. So I see McCaffrey getting the ball a lot, George Kittle getting the ball a lot. If Brandon Ayuk is out, watch both of those guys. They're going to have a lot of big plays for sure. And I just think Bosa and the defense is going to eat. I think they're going to have a good game for the 49ers. I just think they're going to take advantage of that beat-up offensive line.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, 49ers have an excellent defense. Christian McCaffrey is leading the league already in rushing yards. So I think it's going to be a long night for the Giants. Now, on the Giants side of the ball, Daniel Jones looked bad, and then he looked better. Fantasy-wise, he was one of the top fantasy point getters over the weekend with their game against the Cardinals. But this ain't the Cardinals, and they had a real tough time against Dallas. And I don't think they're going to let an egg like that, like they did on opening night, 40-0 type of a beat down. But I don't see any way that they're going to pose a real threat to the 49ers. What are some of the keys to this game? So if the Giants were to be competitive against these 49ers, what are they going to have to do to even make it a game?
I think Daniel Jones has to use his feet. I think he's going to have to run. You see when he runs at least 10 times, he has, I mean, that guy could 60, 70 yards. I mean, he's a quarterback that could get down. You think it's like, you always think Lamar Jackson hurts and all that, but Daniel Jones gets a lot of yards. He really
He
does.
does.
And I think he's going to have to do that tomorrow against the 49ers because Saquon Barkley is out. And they have Bread up, but, it's going to be Daniel Jones. They're going to try to keep the ball in Daniel Jones' hand. I don't see him try to run the ball too much with Breida. And they're going to have to run. He's going to have to run to get the pass. So that's the key for the Giants, I think. And their offensive line, they're going to have to probably put an extra tight end down there to help out, stop Bosa and Hargrave, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the
No,
whole
no,
line. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him. But I think for the Giants, I think Daniel Jones has to run the ball.
no, I agree. I agree. And especially without Saquon Barkley. I mean, Saquon's been good all year so far. Well, he's been good one game.
Mm-hmm.
We have to we've said this before, we almost have to throw that first game against Dallas out the window. But in order for them, I think for the Giants to make this a competitive game, they've got to sustain drives. They got to keep the Niners offense off the field. But when you do that, you have that nasty defense. But the Rams showed that, you could put up points against this defense. The Rams played the Niners well. Granted, that's a divisional rivalry. You have Sean McVay, who knows, Shanahan, and they know each other, and they play each other twice a year. It's always different when it's within the division. So, but I think some of the keys will be they're going to have to find some sort of a running game. So hopefully Matt Breida could come out and give them a good game. Like you said, Daniel Jones, he's not going to just be able to sit back in that pocket and have time to throw. So he's going to have to make quick decisions and scamper and get down the field to put his team in a better situation. But even with all that said, you have McCaffrey, you have Purdy, you have Debo, you have Kittle. I mean, the list goes on and on. The Niners are healthy other than Ayuk, and he's not even out yet. He's not listed as out. He's just questionable. From what I understand, that he kind of played through it last week. He played through that shoulder injury.
Yeah.
So
he did.
What's to say he can't, not unless he re-aggravated it. And if he re-aggravated it, then, but I see this just really being a one-sided game. But you never know. The Giants and Niners, they always play in tough games. For some reason, I mean, one team could be, 10-0, the other team could be 0-10, but when they play each other, it always seems to be a battle. But man, that crowd out in the Bay is just crazy, and they're going to be going wild for this one. Is there any possible way, because this is a fantasy football. If we're looking at from the fantasy perspective here, you're starting McCaffrey all the time. If you had a quarterback, like say you had Justin Fields as your quarterback and Purdy's available, I don't know, man. I run Purdy out there. I'm noticing that Purdy's getting picked up in more and more leagues.
Yep.
Not too many people are starting him, but they're having him on their bench just in case. You know what I'm saying? So this is a great streaming night for Brock Purdy. You could easily stream Purdy. You're going to start Debo.
Yep. I think this is going to be a tell-all tonight or tomorrow night for the 49ers with Brock Purdy. I just have a good feeling that he's going to, just like you're saying, he's right there. He's right there where people are picking him, but they're not starting him.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's right there where then you're going to start him. So I think tomorrow night's going to be a good game for him. There's another player that Eli Mitchell. Maybe put him on a FanDuel or a DraftKings showdown tomorrow night.
Yep.
Because the Coach Shanahan, he did say that he's going to have to start switching it up with McCaffrey to kind of save him up a little bit. So just look out for Eli Mitchell to start touching the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Elijah Mitchell is definitely a good sneaky play for like a FanDuel or a DraftKings single game entry, because I don't know how many people are going to be on him. But Shanahan did say that. And Elijah Mitchell, man, when he's healthy, you can usually start him. I mean, obviously now you can't because Christian McCaffrey's there, but when he was the Niners lead back, you were starting Mitchell. And last week he didn't even get a single touch, man. He didn't get a single carry. And that's kind of, weird. I mean, Debo got 5 carries. Brock Purdy carried the ball 3 times. And then McCaffrey, he had everything out of the backfield pretty much was McCaffrey, 20 carries, 116 yards. Shanahan did come out, like we just said, and said that he wants to get Elijah Mitchell more involved and get him some touches because he doesn't want to run McCaffrey in the ground. If you have another great back like that in your stable, it is wise to use them both, because then you don't wear out your star because they're going to need McCaffrey down the road. If they need to run him 20, 30 times in the, late in December and going into the playoffs, they're going to need to do that, but he's got to be kind of fresh for that. The Niners, they've scored 30 points in their first 2 games. It looks like Shanahan's offense is hitting on all cylinders. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something there though. I think there's something coming. I don't think he used it all. Like last week they had a game plan, and the second half kind of changed. It seemed like the first week it changed. They didn't want to show everything, But last week it started to go good, and then the defense had to pick it up in the second half, and they did. So I think there's something that he's holding back. And like we're saying, I think Brock Purdy, I think you might see a little bit different tomorrow with Brock Purdy. I think you might see a little more yards with him.
Like rushing yards or passing yards?
Yeah, passing yards. I think you might see a little more passing yards tomorrow because I think Kittle's going to get a lot. I think he's going to get a lot more tomorrow, especially if Ayuk don't play.
Yeah. Kittle had a kind of a down game against the Rams. He didn't do too, as far as a fantasy perspective is concerned. He was not really, it's once again, when you draft George Kittle, wherever you draft him as a top 5 tight end or top 6 tight end, wherever he fell, you always run that risk that one day he can get you 20 points because he's that good, and the next game he can get you nothing. And I think that has a lot to do with the script and the game plan and the opponent they're playing against. Shanahan really watches that stuff. Exactly. Now on the Giants side, Saquon's out. Daniel Jones, he had 9 carries for 59 yards, and he's going to have to really be doing that again tomorrow night. But Matt Breida, he came in. He only had 1 carry for 5 yards, but it was late in the game when he got in. And one thing about Breida is he knows the Niners, that's for sure. He knows the Niners, and he's been backing up Saquon for a while now. So he's comfortable in that offense. I don't expect anything great out of him, but I expect him to be the lead back there, and he could be a sneaky play. I know that Niners defense is really good, but Karen Williams, he had a decent day. He got in the end zone. That's what made it. He didn't get a bunch of yards last week against the Niners, but he had a decent day, especially from a fantasy perspective. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there and you have Breida and you don't really have, you lost Saquon, you don't really have much choices, you could run Breida out there. If I had a different option, I'd probably go that direction though. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And Darren Waller looked good though, yep. So he can, I would say Daniel Jones is going to have to get the ball to Waller, and we could see a heavy Waller night, Waller. And then I think Isaiah Hodgins is the other one there that Jones will probably look to those 2 guys. Darius Slayton is still there, but he's really not been relevant for a while now. But I think when it comes down to big games, late, Isaiah Hodgins has been the one that, Daniel Jones has really gone to. And man, I'm shocked Sterling Shepard's still on that team, bro. It seems like he's been there forever. He had 1 catch for 4 yards Sunday against, the Cardinals.
All those injuries, we forgot he's still there.
Right? Exactly, bro.
And you could see a big play from Jalen Hyatt tomorrow. You never know, Yeah. They seen what he could do last week, so they might use him a little more tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah, he had 2 receptions, 89 yards. So he's a big play guy. 2 targets, 2 receptions, 89 yards. His long was 58. So the other one was 31
yards. Yeah.
31 yards, something like that. So yeah, you're right. I'm sure that they'll be looking to him and seeing what he can do if he could stretch that defense a little bit. Now the Vegas has this as lopsided. They have it by 10. They got the Niners by 10.5. It's almost a 2 touchdown. Whenever you see something like this,
Mhm.
that means Vegas really thinks that there's no hope for the Giants. So I don't know. Some games there's really a lot to talk about, and some games there isn't a ton to talk about. And when you're looking at these two teams where they're at right now, I think it's going to be a whooping.
Yeah, I think so. I think after last week, the way they played, I know they came back and beat the Cardinals, but after they after what they looked like last week, and then with Saquon out, it's going to be rough for them to come back this week.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah.
Niners going to handle them. I'll be really shocked if the Niners don't beat them by at least 14 points.
No, I agree. From a fantasy perspective, those single games on FanDuel or DraftKings, you could throw out a Jalen Hyatt and hope that he gets a big play. As far as FanDuel and DraftKings are concerned, there's a lot of players you can use here. If you're going to build that 5-man team, you put either McCaffrey or even Purdy, one of those two as your captain, and then you just fill in. You could probably afford Debo, Purdy, and McCaffrey, and then you could throw in a Matt Breida. I don't know if
Waller.
Jones will fit in there. Waller, you could throw a Waller in there and maybe a Jalen Hyatt, or throw the Niners defense in there because they should get some turnovers. So there's all kinds of ways you could build it, but the Niners are really good for those single game matchups because they have a lot of variety, and then the other team usually has just a couple. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep, yep.
yeah, I think that I'm with you 100%. I think the Niners are just going to go ahead and roll this one. Like we said, it's their home opener. They're excited. The Giants are really lucky to be 1-1 right now because the Cardinals gave them all they can handle. So from the NFL, though, there's some news that broke today. The Cleveland Browns signed Kareem Hunt. Are you surprised with that signing?
No, not really. I mean, we all talked about this right when Chubbs got hurt. Your first thought is he's the running back that was with their playbook last year. So yeah, I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, it makes sense, huh?
Yeah, big time, big time.
Yeah.
They don't need to, like Leonard Fournette. He doesn't know the playbook. So that would be kind of odd to go after somebody that doesn't know the playbook or hasn't played at all. But Kareem Hunt, he'll probably be a week or so to get back out there.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I just posted a little video, just a quick, 15-second TikTok, and all it said was it just said that Kareem Hunt was signed by the Browns, and what does that mean for Jerome Ford? And the answer it was one word, nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Jerome Ford is still the guy. They love Jerome Ford. Matter of fact, Jerome Ford is the reason Kareem Hunt didn't get re-signed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He was already last year on his way out, or just probably because his production was down. He's not able to produce like he once was. And they love Jerome Ford, man. And so they've come out and said he's their guy. And I'm hearing a lot of things that are saying that Ford could be a league winner. You had an RB1 just fall into your lap. That's all, still to be seen, but yeah, there's no threat to Jerome Ford's production or his volume or anything like that by having Kareem Hunt, be signed. The other transaction that took place today, you hit me up as I was driving because you heard about it first. But the Minnesota Vikings made a trade with the Rams, and they have Cam Akers now. So this one's a little more interesting because we all kind of know what we have in Kareem Hunt and that situation over there. But in Minnesota, Madison hasn't looked good the first 2 games of the season. Now, Cam Akers looked okay in his first game, and it was a shock. But I think this is a good pickup for the Vikings. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think so. Akers, he played game 1, and it seems like he wanted a new start also. So I
Yeah.
think that'd be good for Madison to maybe get some fire up his butt. To be like, okay, I need to show up. If I don't show up, then he's going to show up, and I think he needs to. I think it's good for Madison in a way. And Madison's a little faster. He'll get more of the screens and all that. But Akers, he likes to pound up the middle and stuff like that. So I think it's good for the Minnesota Vikings either way. Like we can sit here and say it's good for Madison, but I think it's good for the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. I think it's a good pickup for him.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. They need that running game to get going so everyone could be freed up. Say what you want about Dalvin Cook or whatever, but when he was there, it freed up a lot of stuff because he worked well in that offense and he was always just enough of a threat that defenses just couldn't just guard the run. And so now though, it seems like, man, the Vikings, the way they're running, defensive has no fear of the Vikings running game. And, the Vikings signed Dalton Reisner, which is a guard, and that should really, really help shore up their line. He was the number one free agent that just hadn't been signed yet. They signed him the other day. He's going to step right in, and hopefully that will help shore up that line. And because they really needed help in the interior. Their center's down still. Garrett Bradbury, he's questionable for Sunday. But signing of Reisner along with the acquisition of Cam Akers, we'll see what that does for the Vikings. And I don't think there's any other major transactions over the last few days.
I don't think so. I think that's the only one. That trade today was the first trade this week. Yeah, the real biggest transaction this week was that trade with Akers.
Yeah. And I know we already came out on our show right after the Monday night game and announced, actually we were live when that happened, when we got the announcement, but Nick Chubb is out for the season. But even more so, I just read a report that a doctor, and I don't know if this doctor actually examined him or, if this was the doctor but there was a doctor that said that this could be career ending for Nick Chubb. And that would be horrible. If Nick Chubb he was gonna have probably the best running back year of any back. I mean, he was destroying Pittsburgh in that game, bro. He was just obliterating. They had no answer for him, and it would be really, really sad if that ended his career.
Yeah, that'd be a big one for him for sure, and the Cleveland Browns. But like for him as a player. Everybody around the league, they came out and said, man, that guy's so humble and quiet and just goes out and plays football. And there's nothing behind anything. He just goes to play football. And all his teammates love him, and to go out his career like that, I think he came in the league in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So he's only been in 5 years. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Nobody wants to see that. It's like Bo Jackson all over again if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so we wish him well, and our thoughts and prayers are out to him and his family. And I hope it goes well for him. I hope he's able to recover and get back to football. The NFL's better with guys like Nick Chubb in it. That's just a really tough thing, a tough accident that happened. And I know Minka Fitzpatrick probably feels horrible, but it's not his fault, man. This is football. You're going out, you're just playing, and so there was nothing dirty about that play. He made it. I mean, at first I was like, dang, he went for his legs. Nah, there's nothing dirty. That was a football play, man. And he just got caught. So that really stunk. But anyway, that's it. There's the game. Niners, Giants tomorrow night. We both got the Niners. I mean, well, I'm not going to speak for you. I'll let you speak for yourself. I got the Niners in this one. I think the score, I'll say 35 to 17, maybe.
I'm going to say 31-14.
31-14. All right. I'm saying, I don't know. I just kind of feel like the Niners might explode a little bit. And I'm with you. I think Purdy might have a big air game. He's good. Brock Purdy's good.
Mm-hmm.
The Drew Brees.
Yeah.
The new Drew.
I hope so.
Right. Yeah, and so that's going to do it, everybody. Remember, if you have the Niners, just go ahead and throw them in your lineup. You're good to start any of the Niners that you have tomorrow. Be careful with any of the Giants you have. Just to recap really quickly, you can start Matt Breida if he's your last option. The Niners have shown that they can give up some yards and some touchdowns to running backs, but I would not advise that. If you have any other option, go the other route. I wouldn't start Daniel Jones either, even though he had a great game Sunday. I'd be careful with that too. Okay, well, that's the show, everybody. Thanks for listening. And we will be on again Saturday morning. We'll have a podcast for you that's going to break down the weekend's games, and we'll review this Thursday night game. I am Lonnie. He is Jake. We'll catch you on the next one.